Today, we are going to talk about the worst possible side effect you could experience with Ozempic. And up to this point in time, I have been avoiding talking and bringing this up, but I had another patient ask me about it the other day, and so I believe it is time we officially talk about it. And rightfully so, given some of the headlines that we are now seeing. Why Ozempic weight loss could cost you thousands in plastic surgery bills. Or how about this one? Ozempic finger is the latest side effect that is going to force women to spend more money. And even this one right here, Ozempic butt. What you need to know when taking these weight loss medications. Unfortunately for us, these side effects have been covered extensively by the New York Times. And they even have a couple of excellent examples. Look at this lady right here. She went from having a normal face to a normal face. And look at this lady here. She went from a face that is maybe a little bit dark, maybe looks like she just woke up, to maybe a bit more surprised and a little bit brighter. And here we can see that clearly Ozempic finger is a huge problem where women are losing their rings, their bracelets, you name it, they are falling off of their fingers because of Ozempic. Alright, if you haven't caught on yet, I am totally being sarcastic with all of this, and yes, I have been avoiding this topic because I think it is some of the silliest reporting that I have seen in respect to Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other weight loss medications. And it seems like the New York Times might be a tad bit more desperate than the average in trying to get a number of clickbait titles out there and trying to drive traffic to their website. But I digress. Let's actually talk about what is happening when people are talking about Ozempic butt, Ozempic face, and Ozempic finger. So first and foremost, Ozempic and the other weight loss medications are not directly causing these side effects. And when it comes to places like your face, your butt, your finger, you are essentially just losing fat that is in those areas. And when it comes to our face, it can cause a bit of a hollowed out appearance because there is fat within our cheeks. We lose the fat there. We're going to have less fat and it's going to just be more skin that's kind of hanging out there. Now, what exactly is causing this really has to do with our skin. And our skin is a fantastic organ. It is almost like a rubber band in that if it gets stretched, it can then recoil back. However, if it gets stretched too much because there is an excess amount of fat tissue there and it's been stretched out for a long period of time, as well when we age, we start to lose the elasticity of our skin. When we lose the fat in a given area, if that skin is stretched out, just like a rubber band that has been overstretched, it's going to recoil to some degree, but it's not going to fully go back to the shape that it originally had. And so from that, we can get kind of a hollowed out appearance, we can get more wrinkles, and we can get a bit of sagging skin, whether it's around our abdomen area, whether it's around our butt, our face, you name it, it can occur if there has been more fat there over a longer period of time, and that skin just can't fully retract to where it was previously. And in reality, none of this is new. It can happen with any kind of diet where you lose a substantial amount of weight. It can happen with these medications. It can happen with bariatric surgery, or it can just happen as part of the aging process. And that is why people spend thousands of dollars to get fillers and various things injected into their skin and their face in order to plump things back up. Heck, even myself, I experienced Ozempic face when I prepared for a bodybuilding competition last November. As you can see from this picture on the right hand side here, I was my warm, pizza loving self, and then I decided to prep for a bodybuilding show. I lost a ridiculous amount of weight, about 50 pounds in total, and we ended up with myself on the left who was calorie, sleep deprived, miserable, and so cold all the time. But hey, I was ultra lean. And with that dramatic loss, you can see how I developed the Ozempic face. I went from nice, plump, filled out cheeks here to the right hand side there where I was very much hollowed out. And in the bodybuilding world, they tend to call that diet face, not Ozempic face. So overall, what occurred was not because of any kind of medication or anything in particular. It was just because I lost a lot of weight and I got very lean. And so my body was taking fat from all over my body, but the final fat reserves that it was taking from were places like my cheeks. Now, I know since this has come up with a couple of my patients, this is certainly a legit concern for people, and it's been a little bit over-dramatized by the New York Times and various other news outlets. So let's talk about how you can prevent these things from happening. One thing you can do is trying to lose weight more slowly and more gradually. So no starvation diets, no trying to lose weight as quickly as possible, taking your time with it and gradually losing the weight and allowing your skin to recoil back in a more gradual sense. The second thing you can do in terms of the Wegovy butt in particular is get into the gym and start lifting some weights, start building some muscle to help fill out the space where the fat was previously. The stronger and more muscle that you can have there, it's not only going to make you healthier, but it can also help with the sagging skin aspect. And I guess the final thing that we can look at to help manage these conditions would be things like plastic surgery or saving up and getting fillers. But in reality, if you are really that concerned about these side effects, or these are your biggest concern, then maybe these weight loss medications aren't necessarily for you. Because the reality of the matter is, these news stories and sensationalization about these side effects really are more about trying to put these medications that are life-changing and helping a lot of people, they're trying to put these medications into a negative light. And it really goes to show just how fat phobic and how fat biased our society ultimately is, and how much we are further perpetuating the problems of internalized weight bias that people who are struggling with their weight tend to experience. Because people who are really struggling with their weight and they're looking to use these medications to help themselves as a tool to become healthier and live their happiest and healthiest life aren't going to give two flying chickens about these kinds of side effects. And I think we really need to think about the effed up standards that we're putting onto people, where if you're fat, you're not good enough. But hey, you went and lost a whole bunch of fat? Well, you're still not good enough because you now have Ozempic face. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? And I mean, we wonder why the kids are so messed up these days. So it's time that we stop putting these ridiculous standards onto people. It's time we stop focusing on what's on the outside and start focusing what's on the inside and how you can start to live your healthiest and happiest life. And for those of you that may be concerned and maybe you're struggling with your weight and you're still trying to work your way through the internalized weight bias and struggles that you experience in this world, I am here to tell you, you are enough. Where you are right now is more than enough, and it will always be enough. Whether you have obesity or not, there is nothing that is fundamentally wrong with you, as society might try to tell you. You are worthy of love and belonging, regardless of what size of body you live in. Capiche? Alright, that is the end of my rant about Wegovy butt, Ozempic face, Ozempic finger. No, these are not the worst side effects that you are going to experience with Ozempic and such like that. This was mostly sarcasm and just kind of unbelievable that I had to create a video around this, but here we are. And on that note, don't forget to follow me on my other channels at The Official Dr. Dan. And of course, if you got some value out of this video, please share it with everybody who needs to see it. And of course, check out my website, healthevolve.co, where you can book in with myself in order to go over and see if we can help you with your weight management journey. And until next time, my friends, I will see you next week, but always remember, small tweaks lead to massive peaks.